Progressives continue to pressure the Biden administration to cancel student loan debt. But House Speaker Nancy Pelosi either doesn't know what the executive branch is capable of based on current rules and laws, or she's lying to you, which makes her pretty dumb or feckless.
One of my prayers is that the Republicans will take back their party.
Things keep dripping out, drip, 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 and the truth comes out.
The truth comes out. So Pelosi has decided to run interference for Biden to provide cover for Biden and have you believe that Biden actually doesn't have the ability to do something that he does in fact have the ability to do. Without further ado, here's House Speaker Nancy Pelosi lying to the American public.
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress. The president can't do it. So that's not even a discussion. Not everybody realizes that, but the president can only postpone, delay, but not forgive.
No. That's just not true. See, there's something called the Compromise and Settlement provision in the Higher Education Act. And this has been around for a long time. I admit that it's obscure, but this was the type of provision that was utilized under the Obama administration to make some pretty important student loan decisions, right? So for instance, instead of having students rely on private lenders that charge higher interest rates for student loans, the federal government decided to get much more involved in being the ones who actually give out the loans at a much lower interest rate, making the borrowing a lot less expensive and more attainable to people. Also, remember, during the Obama administration, the Department of Education decided to cancel the student loans of students who had been defrauded by for-profit colleges and universities. So they didn't have to go to Congress for that. Again, the Education Department was able to make that decision on their own. They have the discretion to do it. And so Nancy Pelosi is lying to you. And this provision has been around since the Eisenhower administration, okay? That's how long it's been around. Cenk.
Yeah, so I want to address a couple of things you said. So first of all, look, it's an uncomfortable topic, but a lot of these politicians are super old. So the reason I bring that up here is there is some, and this is damning with faint praise, but there's some chance that she wasn't lying, that she's just, and I've seen this in a couple of press conferences with her, she's just lost the thread. Because, and I'll tell you why, Anna. Because normally Democratic leadership is in lockstep and they never go after each other, okay? But Chuck Schumer actually does want to cancel student debt, and he actually does know the law. And of course, he's a Senate Majority Leader, and the person that Pelosi probably works with the most, since she's the Speaker of the House, they're the two main leaders in Congress for the Democrats. So normally Pelosi would never call out Chuck Schumer by saying he's wrong on the law. Now, she didn't mention his name, but everybody knows in Washington that Chuck Schumer is in favor of this, which, by the way, give him credit. He's on the right side of this.
He is. Back in April, he told Joe Biden, urging him to cancel student loan debt. He said, all you need is the flick of a pen. Right, so Schumer and Warren in the Senate are on the right side of this issue. I would like them to go further because they're calling for the cancellation of $50,000 in student loan debt. I want them to wipe out federal student loans. And I don't please spare me all of the whiny, centrist Democratic voters who are like, but I paid for my student loans and so I want everyone else to suffer. Like, buzz off, please. Everyone benefits by making it easier for people who are burdened with student loan debt to participate in our economy. A lot of them aren't even able to do the basics like buy a house, start a family. Like, everyone benefits from canceling the student loan debt. So stop being like a salty person, like get over it.
Well, I crossed the country in a horse and buggy. It took me 6 months. And these whippersnappers are taking a plane. That doesn't seem fair.
I mean, apply that logic to anything else. Like, oh, there's new cancer treatments. Well, there weren't cancer treatments around when, family members of mine suffered. So no, anyway.
Okay, so now back to look, there is again, if we're being honest, there is a liar in this story, and it is a Democrat. It's Joe Biden.
Yes.
Okay, Joe Biden said on the campaign trail that he was going to take out at least $10,000 worth of student debt from everybody, right? And he doesn't intend to do that at all. So the minute he got into office, he's like, oh, well, no, I want to, I would like to. But I mean, first of all, Congress should pass a bill. No, you could do it through executive action. Oh, could I? Ooh, uncomfortable because I really don't want to do it. I was lying. I needed a decision from the Department of Education. They got to write a memo. So I'm gonna ask them for the memo. Okay, so he asked for the memo back in April. Where's the memo, Joe? I don't know where the memo is. No comment, no comment. Why? Probably the memo said, yes, you can do it.
Yeah, they know. Come on, Cenk, I can't believe you're being as generous as you are to Biden. Like, Biden was the vice president under the Obama administration when the education department under the Obama administration unilaterally decided to cancel the student loans of students who had been defrauded by for-profit colleges. They had the discretion to do that. Biden knows, he knows. Okay?
I like that you called me generous for saying he is most likely a liar.
I think that's too generous. I honestly do. On this issue, he's flat out lying to you. There is no maybe he's lying to you. He is lying to you. And so, look, I'm sorry. With Pelosi, I'll be comfortable with the phrasing of maybe she's lying to you. Very likely she's lying to you. But if I had to bet my bottom dollar, she knows. And I'm tired of this like weak argument. It's like the fallback statement by both Democrats and Republicans when they don't really know what they're talking about, which is according to the Constitution, Congress needs to do it because it sounds official. It sounds like it makes sense, right? But no, the Education Department has the discretion to make that decision. And by the way, the Education Secretary was nominated by who? By Joe Biden. So if Joe Biden applied pressure to the Education Secretary to do this, to cancel student loans, it would happen. It's not a difficult thing to do. And one final thing I want to know, the reason why they don't cancel the student loan debt, let's keep it real, okay? The federal government collects interest on those student loans. So just last year, $70.3 billion in interest on those federal student loans. So there's also a financial incentive to avoid canceling the student loan debt for the federal government, and that's pretty sick.
Yeah, the reason why I say Pelosi might be losing it as opposed to just flat out lying, by the way, I mean, you would never see any of this in the mainstream media. If Paul Krugman saw this, he'd have a heart attack. I once said that she took $720 million. And
he cried about it.
And he cried, he's like, that is a vile allegation. It's a fact, dude, look it up. You're supposed to be a journalist. So anyways, but she's gotten the law wrong like really badly several times in the last couple of years. And normally the Democrats are better at lying. Normally they have a slight, like a plausible deniability when they lie. So that the corporate media like Krugman and others can come in and go, oh, no, it could be, it could be.
Yes, Madam Speaker, right? Yes, Madam Speaker.
Right, Madam Speaker, Queen, our beloved. Okay, we won't let anybody in the media criticize you. Anyways, in this case, she's so wildly wrong that's why it's embarrassing, and I think that it's a mistake on her part, at least strategically. Does she want the student loan debt canceled? Of course not. She's deeply conservative. She doesn't want Medicare for all. She doesn't want Green New Deal. Every once in a while, some good-meaning, well-meaning progressive will come and say, no, actually Pelosi's good on this issue. He ain't good on any issue. Okay, and by the way, I don't believe Chuck Schumer either. He's just worried that AOC's gonna run against him in the Senate, right? So that's why he's like, oh yeah, student loan debt. It doesn't matter, Biden will kill it. We all know Biden's gonna kill it. We know Biden's lying, right? So I'll pretend to be in favor of it. Warren actually does believe it, and she's been consistent throughout her career on it. But I'll give Schumer credit. If he fights for it, he passes it, or he gets Biden to do it, then I give him all the credit in the world. Because all we care about is actually making sure you guys are okay. And that would be $10,000 you all save if you have a student loan debt. But one last thing. Anna mentioned, look, it's a bit of an obscure law that allows the president to wipe out this debt. First of all, did Trump mind using obscure laws?
No, he loved it.
Not, right? Yeah,
he liked using tools in his toolbox, right? I mean, Democratic presidents though, they pretend like they talk a big talk when they're campaigning, and then they're like, tools, what tools?
Yeah.
You know, they throw the toolbox in the ocean, pretend like it doesn't exist.
And this is the same game that's been played for decades now. What Republicans tell you they're monsters, Democrats tell you they're angels, and then they come into office and do exactly what they're, or on economic issues, almost exactly what the Republicans do. Okay, but we got corporate rule in the first place that corrupted the Democratic Party. Why? Of an incredibly obscure, not even ruling by the Supreme Court, by an introduction to a Supreme Court case that the clerk got wrong. Every legal expert knows that the clerk got it wrong. And that was a decision that said corporations are people, according to the Constitution. Now the justice actually said the opposite. Now that is an obscure clerical error from the 1800s, and it dominates our political life. So nobody ever says, oh no, that's an obscure thing from the 1800s. We're not gonna listen to that, that's absurd. Of course corporations are human beings, right? But when it comes to helping you guys and wiping away student debt, it's obscure law, hey, we shouldn't do it, etc. And Biden, I mean, on the campaign trail, of course, Democrats are giant liars. We all sophisticated journalists know that, and so we excuse it because we just call it normal. No, it's not normal, it's awful. That's why people don't trust you anymore. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.